John, before you get started, do you want me to send
Just pass them around, yes.
This is a bunch of pens John made. So he's definitely a pen maker.
Okay, the deal on those is as a club project, whenever we go out for demonstrations, we sell these pens here for $20. Many of the members sell their own pens. All the money goes back into, half of it goes to the club for future purchase of another lathe, and the other half goes into charity.
He's talking about the York Club.
Yes, the York Club. Thank you. Okay, then we'll also pass around two other pens, and one of them is a pen. I wanted to see if I could make one without the middle collar and see whether or not I could get it to match. So I took it on my scroll saw. There's probably about 12 thousandths of an inch out of the middle of it. You can see how it matches up. And the other thing is, whenever I have the mechanism, the pen mechanism itself, I put CRC power lube on, which is very much like WD-40. Put a couple drops of that on there, and you'll see that they turn much easier than, here's a transmission right here that was not bothered with. So this is factory. You can tell the difference in them, there's no doubt about it. So here you can check the alignment of the colored one. Comes out pretty close to being exactly right. Okay, some things. First off, I usually introduce myself to the person, give them a business card, and this way they have something they can refer to as to who I am. When they want to ask any questions, at least they have a name to go with it. My wife normally is a person who sets up appointments for me, because people will show up, and rather than have them stand there and wait for quite a while, we make an appointment so they can come back, and usually it takes about an hour with each one. And then we go, okay, some things I've made up. Here's a little block. Reason for that, because I want to keep my pieces in order. So I just strictly set this up on top here. Now, when I pull this piece off, it goes on, it never changes direction. I shouldn't say never changes the direction. There are times that I do change it around, but then I remember that I've changed it around. But, here's a little magnet here. Holds my bushings. At Harbor Freight, they have the things to hold the screwdrivers up on the wall. That's what they are. There's a little magnets. There's a whole series of little magnets in. So if you want some magnets for doing something, get one of those and tear it down. The only tool that I use, strictly the skew. And you could either do that or do the bigger one. It doesn't matter. Personally, I sort of just like the little bitty one, because you're doing such small work. You don't need any kind of leverage of any kind. Okay, and 6-inch tool rest is what I use. And after I make up pens, if I start trying to go into some type of production, I just made this little board up here and stick them down on there. And then after a while, then I will assemble, several of them at one time. And that's about it so far as other than standard equipment. Right here I have a buffing wheel again. Okay, I modified this. I put a different centerpiece in it, a different rod in, and made this so that this wheel is further away. In this case here, I have two wheels on here instead of just a single one. Just covers more ground quicker.
And that's a pen mandrel, right? That started out as a pen mandrel?
No, not really. No, because I'm going to say it probably couldn't, because it is a 1/4-inch rod. Okay. Originally this was a purchased thing. The only thing I did is changed out the rod, because I forget what. Oh, I know what happened one day. I had it in and didn't have the tail rest up against it, and cranked it up a little bit, and all of a sudden it's sort of bent off to the side, so that ended that rod, so I decided to make it longer at that
So
point.
it started out as a pen mandrel and you screwed it up.
No, it started off as a buffer manual.
Oh, I see.
That is a,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Okay.
that's, was factory. I think it's Beal, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. Okay, and other than that, that's okay. Now, so far as preparing these blocks are concerned, 7mm drill to drill them. I have the vise that both jaws move, so no matter what size this is, it is always centered. And the way I go about centering my vise is I have a piece of round stock, that's all it is. You could use a drill bit if you wanted to, and put that in the chuck of the drill, run it down, clamp my vise onto it, then I mount my vise. Doesn't matter whether it's off to the side or anything like that. Again, it's still going to work out okay. And whenever I put the bushings in, I always put them up absolutely tight against my center, the center part of them. So both of these here, here we can pass these around, we can use other ones. You'll see that there's very little wood taken off of there. Again, most of the time I cut those on my scroll saw so that I am not removing too much wood. And the more wood you move, the less match you're going to have. The pen that's going around now, the colored pen, if that would have 1/8 of an inch off of there, there's no way you'd have any kind of match at all. And after I do that, I have a 1/2 inch, what the heck's it called? No, not countersink. Anyhow, whatever this tool's called. What is it, Bill? You know. The
Barrel trimmer.
What is it?
Barrel trimmer.
Okay, barrel trimmer. Yeah, there's another name for it too, I think. End mill.
Oh, okay.
End mill, that's what it's really called. But anyhow, I use a 1/2 inch. On the slimline pens, about the biggest that you can go with a slimline pen in any dimension is 400 thousandths where your clip is going to be at. So therefore I use the 1/2 inch. That at least tells me whenever I'm down to 1/2 inch, because what's going to happen to the wood at the end, where I have the countersink or end mill real deep, that wood's going to disappear. You're going to see it. At that point I know that I have 1/2 inch diameter pieces. Let me just have another 2 pieces of wood here. And what I'm referring to is this end of the wood here. If you can see it, you can see it's down deep in. I don't have anything really demonstrate it right, but anyhow, that's deep. Whenever that wood disappears, this extra wood out here, then I know I'm at 1/2 inch, so I have another 100 thousandths to go. That's the biggest I can make anything. Now, I make a lot of pens, and I think those have the ball on the end. Those are usually, I usually make those about 1/2 inch in diameter. So as soon as I see this wood prepared, if we're going to put a ball on the pen, and another thing I do is I put a ball on both ends. And the reason being is because you have no idea what you're going to have until you get down there. So you may have something that says, oh, this looks pretty nice. You turn the other end and you find out, well, that was better yet. So therefore, I wait and I turn ball on both ends. At least rough it in anyhow. That gives you a good idea what you're going to end up with. And then whenever I finally make the decision, then I just cut off the other ball. Okay. And I don't know whether I mentioned, but I always number and put a line on my wood. Some people call that a witness mark. But anyhow, I could have several 12s, and the odds are me having a 12 that matches that line are pretty doggone slim. So therefore I match those up. Okay, Mr. John's going to be by, demonstrator here this evening. Okay. What the heck did I just do with the other piece of wood? Okay, so there's the way the wood's going to be then. So it doesn't matter which piece we do first. So we'll just keep this one over to the right. Good idea to do, especially when you have new bearings or something. Take and mic them. And they should be somewhere around 330 to 332 thousandths. That is the diameter of your point and your bushing that goes in the middle, and also this up here. So therefore, if you have them right, and it's very hard to do, especially when we add CA glue to them, get them that there's no edge there. That's the ideal thing. Some people will even take and measure these on the very end to make sure that they are down to the proper diameter. Okay, I have a special tail piece, again, regular could be bought or is bought, but anyhow, it's hollow in the middle, and therefore I only turn one of them at a time. That goes on just like that, and the reason I only turn one is because invariably any shaft that you have is not really running true. You'll see that they're whipping in the middle. The longer I make that shaft, the more whip I have. The shorter I make it, the less I have. So this is supposed to keep that shaft straight. This here I think came from Barry Gross, which is Arizona Silhouette, out of Ben Salem? Ben Salem, down near Philadelphia. Okay. Are you with me here?
Yeah, I'm not sure what you want me to do.
Okay, lock it in here. Oops.
Oh.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Nelson. Okay, lock your tail piece in with that arm right there. Mm-hmm. Bring it on up. Give it a good push.
Yep.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
You're in good shape. Now, invariably, this is going to end up loosening up on us. Right now, I can still turn that. Mm-hmm. And the reason being is because it has to set the Morse taper there. Mm-hmm. Okay, next thing I do is I put this in here, mm-hmm. and I bring it up just slightly below center. Okay, go ahead and tighten it up and we can change this. Now the next thing I do is I sight down over the top of this and line it up with the back edge of your ways and try to make sure it's good and straight. You can stay out. Well, no, that's okay. We'll make up with. No, that's okay. We'll just drop it down a tiny bit. That'll take care of it. Okay, I don't know whether.
Turn it to make sure it's not too close.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll be okay.
Okay.
And let's just see if because I loosened that. Okay, we're pretty all going straight. Of course, if I have my tool rest setting crooked, of course I'm going to get a crooked cut. Okay, a little bit of power. And this wasn't intentional. I didn't have this plugged in. That was a safety feature I was taking advantage of. Don't work with it with power on, right?
Don't use a face shield.
Oh heck, you know what? I didn't bring one. Is there one here? I totally forgot that.
Yeah, that one.
Are you okay with that one?
Sure, I think so.
Because, you know,
Yeah.
okay, doing pen turning, you can crank up the RPMs pretty good. Right now I have this up, we're going to head up around 1200 RPM. Because of the object being so small, the RPMs can go way up compared, I'm going to say example, an 18-inch bowl, better keep them down. Now, let me borrow just one second. One thing I explained to the people is about the angle of the skew, how the skew works, and this is the only tool that I use. And what I'll do is I'll set it here on the top and explain to them that if I move the handle down, of course it's only riding on the heel, not doing any cutting at all. As I raise it up, all of a sudden the point starts going in, I start getting a cut. So what I want to do is ride this across the object and gradually cut it off. And right now it's going to be rather rough because we are running with the square corners on it. Okay, and let me make one pass for you and then you can take over from there. So I'll run this maybe at about roughly a 45-degree angle and just come across, and you can hear the chattering it's doing. And the odds are I'm going to end up having to tighten up my tailstock. There must be a knot in there that I'm catching on to. That's what I sort of think. Okay, so just sort of keep everything here. Okay, I'm 45 this way. I'm also about, you know, give or take, maybe not 45 that way, but anyhow. Okay. Okay, you can keep this turned up so there you go. Okay, now you're on your own. And whenever you want to check the size of it, see whether you're cutting straight or not, look over the top of it. Now, I can also use this skew as a scraper, which I do at times. If somebody's using the skew as a skew, I may convert them over to using it as a scraper. And you're going to have people that will put grooves into them, anything and everything, but that's okay. We still have some room to work with here. By the time most people get down to where it's time to get serious with the pen, they'll be pretty well squared away. Okay. I was going to say maybe just flatten it out. Rotate. There you go, just a little bit there. I like that there. Okay, go all the way back on the end and start it. You can go all. Now you can also use that. Let's use it just as a scraper. Let's change the way you're using it here. Okay, all you're going to do here is just go. Okay, just use it like that. Now, using it as a scraper, of course, I'm not going to get as good a cut. So maybe you want to just take off the corners this way. Now, on the colored pens, I'd say probably don't use it as a scraper, because after all, that's plywood. And as it's coming around, it's going to try to separate it on you. So you want to sort of try to avoid the scraper part on that. I try to sort of do an early evaluation on whoever I'm working with, and particularly when the young kids, where I think maybe they may not have the skill to use it as a skew, I'll try to stay away from the colored pens then. Okay, and as you're instructing, just sort of keep your eye on it and see if they're getting a tape or anything like that. Looks like overall it's not too bad.
So the end goal is you want to keep it
We want
flat.
to,
You don't want to.
right. Because what I'm shooting for right now is that 1/2 inch diameter, and we still have corners on there. Of course, you want to see if you still have corners on there, lay it up on top, lay your tool up on top of it. Yeah, see, okay, if that's round, you're not going to have that jumping up and down. And on my skews, I have them just slightly rounded, just a tiny bit. And this way, as he's doing right now, you're able to go back and forth both ways, still use it as a skew. Now see, for anybody that hasn't done any turning or anything, this is a good easy way to teach them at least to do something. They're up here, they're using the machine. It's a safe procedure, and they're removing wood. We may pay for it when we go to sand it, but that's okay. Now check and see if you're still around yet. I don't know whether, yeah, see there's still some down here this end. Just keep going straight though, keep it straight, don't worry about that. And on here, your cutting surface should be on center or slightly above center. Now that deep hole that I was referring to before is down at this end, so after a while you're going to see some of that disappear. You want to go back trying to use it as skew for a little bit? Okay, no, over this. You want to get this over. Remember, you got to ride that heel. Go on in. But see, you're cutting too much. Okay, wait a minute. Let me see it here. Let me get sort of an angle here for you. Now, see there, I'm not cutting any at all or very little. So as I bring this out now, as I bring that in this direction, I'm going to start getting a cut here. I'm just going to stop right there for a second.
Yeah, I think it's down to the 1/2 inch.
It's pretty close.
Yeah,
Can you tell I have a couple of little ripples in here, but other than that, I think that's smoother in here than it is over here. It's not a whole lot of difference. So you can use it whichever way you want to use it. Okay, if you're going, okay.
More comfortable.
Okay, go ahead. It's okay. Oh, this end over here is the more important 1/2 inch end. Because you said you want to put a ball on the end of it?
Yes.
Okay, so keep on going there. We're not quite down there yet. You'll see that disappear there. Okay, now it's getting ready to go here in a time or two here. Keep going. There it is. Okay. Now I know that end there is 1/2 inch right now. So that's where we're going. Okay, now time to stop cutting there. Okay. Now, it's pretty doggone good. It looks nice and straight and everything. Okay.
That's not tiger wood, is it?
No, that's I think that's Picote, I believe. Okay, now here's what we want to do right now here, and that's put a sort of a sharp edge in towards the center. And what you don't want to do here now is go in here and go past. We're going to go in sort of like this, but I don't want to go in past the bearing that I put, or the sleeve here, that I put a groove into the wood, because I'm going to be coming down like this. And I wanted to, ideally the point of this and the very end of this, I'm going to call it the very top of this right now, I want that to be one point. You aren't always going to get it. And if anything, I would rather err on the fact that my wood comes out just a tiny bit and then tapers up. Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah, I think so. You never use a parting tool to do this.
You could. But here's my parting tool, it's just a wide one.
Yeah, well,
Right? Because all we're going to do with that is just, I mean, you know, in reality,
I guess
in reality, you're just using something that's narrow, that's all. Because other than this here, it's
I thought it would feel a little bit safer.
no, because you're just going to take off. And see how little I'm taking off here? And that roughly is, you know, give or take. Because what you don't want to do, you don't want to put a real long taper on there, because if you do, you're going to move that ball further back up the pen. And that may not be a good thing to do. So you want to keep it down here just about as far as you can and yet have something. So, okay, now use your parting tool there.
So you go in then almost to the metal?
You go in right to the corner. Yeah, ideally the corners would be lined up here. Just shave off just a tiny bit. That's it. Every time you make a cut, back all the way up and make a complete cut. Don't try to round it off or anything at this point. That's it. There you go. Do that again. You still move over a little bit more. Don't go back anymore now, because you have like a groove there. Okay. Keep your tool, I think you're twisting it up a little bit. Let it rest completely on the tool rest. It just There we go. I think we're in there. Yep. Okay, now.
Well, that's good enough.
That end's done there right now.
Okay.
Now, from now on, we're going to head down to, this is roughly 400,000 of an inch. What I had him do ahead of time here is pick out a pen style that he likes. So he picked one with the ball on, which we're going to put on. He also picked a larger pen. This is about 400 thousandths down here at the base of it. And it has just a slight taper in it. So our next move now, we know that this is, and if I want to, I can take and measure it. We're 505. Remember I said we're going to be 500 when we get down there?
400.
We're at 505 right now. So we have to head down to 400. And you want to stop whenever you're up to, don't be afraid to stop a little bit early. Okay, because I can always take off more wood.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm going to head up towards maybe, oh, okay, that's as fast as it'll go.
That bowl will be what, about 3/16 of an inch?
Wide? Yeah. I'm that eighth of an inch. A little more than an eighth.
Okay.
Yeah. Between an eighth and 3/16, yes. So you'd be better off if you stop at 3/16 of an inch.
Yeah.
And I would probably be more apt to keep my tool that turned in that direction right there, meaning this over a little bit, because in this way you know what edge you're cutting with. You know where you're stopping at, stay over to the right a little bit more. Because that's, okay, now you're getting with it. Okay, no farther up than that. As a matter of fact, keep gradually shortening your stroke a little bit. Don't come over this way quite as far. Okay, again, we could always take more wood off. Let's stop right there. Okay, we're at 429 right now there. And down here we're around 440. So you do have a little bit of a taper in it. So,
So it
and while
should end up fairly flat, fairly straight.
yes.
This lathe is 16.
Okay, let's just stop right there.
You could table legs and something like that.
Okay, we're at 390 right now, so we're good. We're okay. If it's not 400, it doesn't matter. You're not going to feel 10,000 inch there. Now, our next goal here is going to be to take this down to that bushing. That bushing is 330 thousandths, and that's what we're shooting for. So we want to bring that down until we're exactly even. And one thing again you don't want to do, you don't want to go, you don't want to go under, going down and undercutting that. So you want to be exactly flat with it. Mm-hmm. And we're going to taper up towards, maybe up to this area right here. Mm-hmm. That's all. So no more cutting from here to here.
Right.
Right now you're okay going both ways, but later on when you get close, go from the bearing this way. Do not cut back towards the bearing because it's easy to undercut it at that point. You just go for something that looks nice to you, looks appealing. And you want to try to avoid doing any damage to your bearings. Not only in cutting, but also in sanding too. And periodically they should be mic'd, because after a while they will get undersized.
Get a little bit smaller there.
Okay, let's see here how we're doing.
I'd probably sell it for $2.
Check it out, see. Run your nail across there, see if you get any catch right here on the end. That's what you're checking for right now. Okay, I'd say you're right exactly on.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Should leave a little bit for sanding.
we should be okay there. Now up here you're at 402. Remember we were shooting for that. So now, right now, we can actually stop on this particular piece, and the reason I say that, we have a good idea what that's going to look like down there. Now we'll do the same thing with the other one, put a ball on the end of it, and we'll just see how things work out. Okay, let's back this off. Undo your tail piece. Yep, you need to undo it here first. We don't have enough. No, here, this guy, the big guy. Pull it your way. There you are. Now move that on back. See, we can't move that far enough.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, on back a little bit more. There we go. Okay, I'll bring this up, put it in my little tray here. Now, because of him being right hand, I'm going to turn this around the same as we had the other piece. But we have to remember, and our ball is going to go on, again, still the left end. That seemed to work out pretty good for you.
Okay.
That's our center.
Right. So that'll be the tip end.
Yes, that's where we're going to put the ball at. Bring that back in. Okay. Tighten it up. Oops.
Usually we turn this thing down.
Whose ring is that? God just made a call. And if I get in your way or anything, just, okay. Just push me out of the way or tell me to move. So now you're heading down to that 500 thousandths again. Does anybody have any questions or anything? Say again? I do one at a time. Remember I said about the shaft whipping around? Okay, if I have that shaft whipping around, then my pieces are not going to actually be round, or, right, they won't be round. Because one side of it will be cut down and the other side will be, I'll call it high or larger diameter. The only time I turn both of them together or do anything with them both together, when we're putting on finish. Then I can put them back on, both of them together. It might be getting a little bit small on the other end compared to this end. Maybe I'm wrong. You have better visibility though than I do. And in reality, we're going to take that other end down small, so it really wouldn't matter anyhow.
It's down to
Okay, keep going because we didn't have our wood disappear up here. So we're not down to that ½ inch mark yet. The other size end mills that they make that I'm aware of is 5/8 of an inch. Well, that dimension doesn't do anything at all for me, whereas the ½ inch dimension helps me, gives me an idea where the ball goes at on these. Did that piece disappear?
yes.
Okay, then we don't want to go any more here then. Okay. Now, I'll tell you what we're going to do right here, just to sort of speed things up a little bit. We won't worry about this end yet.
Okay.
Just go ahead and trim everything down till we have about our maybe ½ inch here or whatever, enough room to put the ball on. But don't cut this anymore right in that area.
Okay, so this should be
That's going to go down to
tapered a
that
little
size,
bit?
yes. That's going to go down to the size of that bushing. And we want to stop somewhere where that centerpiece is around 400,000. Okay, let's stop there and check it right now, see where we're at. You want to check it? Okay, check in here, close this up first. And hit your 0 button down here in the end. Okay, we're good to open up. Now just make sure you're good and straight, and if you have to back over here, go ahead and do it. Okay, close her up. Oops, why are we, oh, you were holding the 0 button.
Oh.
Okay. Okay, we only do that to to zero it in. Okay, go ahead, now measure. Okay, just right there where your thumb's at, just slide that back. There you go. Okay, make sure you're square, because if you aren't square, you're going to add quite a few thousandths of an inch on it. And then just close it up. What are we reading? 402? All right, so we're basically down to diameter. Now, here's your choice right now. Again, I'm not going to spin this one around. But anyhow, you can take a look at these two pieces and see if you see anything that you might want to have on the bottom. Now, I'm going to tell you what I see here anyhow. I like this taper that's on here, this a little bit better than I do this. I like this dark spot right here. Okay, whereas this doesn't necessarily have that on.
They go together. They'll be all this end will fit.
Okay, you tell me which one you'd like to have at the bottom. Usually I put the best piece at the bottom.
Oh.
Okay. And to me, this right here is the best of this piece here, certainly better than that. So I'm going to spin it around here. Which one do you think is the better one of the two?
Yeah, well, you'd want the nicest looking piece up front, wouldn't you?
At the bottom of the pen with the ball on.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is the front of the pen with the ball.
Okay.
Yeah, so either one.
Okay, to me that's sort of prettier than what this is here, because that just has regular V's in it, that's all.
Right.
Okay, so let's make this here the bottom one. This one here, we're going to taper from either end up to the center. Do not cut any more off the center now. Okay, then we'll put this back in and finish this off as a ball.
Okay,
So that
not
can-
putting a ball here?
Not putting a ball in there. No need we do that, because we don't have anything that's worthwhile
Yeah.
worrying about. At least that's my opinion.
Okay.
So at this point, what you want to do is try to help the people decide, which end's going to be which. And I usually try to pick out the one with the most activity or most green on it, whatever you want to say, and put that at the bottom of the pen. Because if you ever, when you present a pen or anything, what do you think of my pen? What are you showing? You're showing the bottom of it. Now when you're using it, half that's hidden anyhow, so. Now you don't want to cut back, once you get down there, you don't want to cut back towards the bearing, you want to cut from the bearing this way. Okay, what my instruction was to him right now is when you're getting down this small, you want to cut from the bearing towards this direction. Because you don't want to, how are we doing down there in the end? Just take your nail every now and then. Okay. I still feel a little bit of a ridge there yet. You got about, you probably have about 5 or 7. Okay, remember, it's this way, cut this way only. Okay, let's give her a real good check. Okay, now we're...
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, now since you're working so well that way, remember that's supposed to be flipped around. Let's just go ahead and flip it around now. And it'll be in as you're supposed to. And this way you're only working in one direction. Oops, okay. Thank you. Okay, lock him down. Okay, now because of him turning his first pen here, instead of trying to teach him how to go this way with the thing, we just turned the pen around, the blank around, and he's getting more comfortable the way it is. So just keep him turning that way. This way it makes it easier for him.
No advantage to getting your tool rest any closer.
No, not really, because you don't have that much of a leverage advantage on you. And you're not going to be chattering that much or anything like that. There you go. Now you're getting into it. Okay, how's your end doing down there? Do you have more to go? I
A little
can't.
bit. Getting close.
What are you doing?
Yeah, that might be almost close enough.
Some seam rippers out of
Make one more pass, just a very, very light pass, because if you go around here, now see there's spots on here where I'm just about touching, and there's another spot where I still have a tiny bit. So I'm going to just have him make one extremely light cut. You only want to take off 2 or 3 thousandths at the most, if it's even that much. So that's all you want to do, just out there. Nope. Okay, put the center of this piece right on that, right in there. There you go. That's it.
Okay.
That's all we saw. It remove something. I think we're pretty well gone. Okay.
I believe, yeah.
Now we can go ahead and finish this one off, or else we'll do, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do both of them together. So it doesn't matter. Bring that up where it's supposed to be, because we did reposition it. Now the only thing I would consider, go ahead, push it on up. The only thing it looks like right here at the very end, starting about right about here, it sort of tapers up pretty good.
Yeah.
So why don't you go ahead and start here and come this way and gradually try to, okay, you want to bring this top up to, you want to leave about maybe a much up here, and we'll round that off then. We'll just round this off. Look at your other piece here. See here, I don't have that much there. I'm only from about the end of my fingernail to the end of the thing, so I'm about right there's where I stopped at. That's all the thicker you want to make that ball.
What kind of wood is this?
That's oak.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, now I'm not
I'll tell you what, let's do here. Let's just work our tool from here down. How's that? As we know. Just about like this right here. Just keep, now what all I'm using is this. I'm using that much of the cutting edge, that's all. 1/16 of an inch of it at the most, if it's even that. So you want to keep your handle over this way a little bit. And just sort of, okay, you don't want this to be straight, so you want this to be sort of tapered in there. Okay, now take that off there. Bring down to that groove that I have there. No, don't twist your thing. Just go straight on across. If you twist it, you're going to get an indent in there. There you go. Okay, well you're still twisting. Slide your tool across like you've been doing.
okay.
Okay, now just slide it on across. There you go. Okay, that's it. That's all. You're done. Okay. Now, the only other thing you'd want to do now is maybe just go in here just like this and just put the slightest angle on here, trying to sort of, and matter of fact, I might do the rest of this here almost with sandpaper. Let's take a look at it and just see how it feels.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not quite as deep as this one.
Okay. Then I would, okay, again, keep this end over just a tiny bit, about like that, and you want to sort of try to taper in there and then move it in that direction. Don't do the
Okay.
twist fit with it. Okay, don't make a straight cut in there, make an angled cut if you can. Okay, now it's going across a little bit, not too far. That's it, right there, hang on. You may be pretty well finished. I believe by golly you are. Yeah, to me that looks pretty good. Okay, we're ready for some. Okay, we're going to start off here with 600 paper. I have 6, 8, and 12. I also have some 320 here, I think. And when you're sanding, of course, you want to keep the sandpaper moving. And we'll probably put it down somewhere around maybe 500 or thereabouts. 600 I'm on right now. So try to stay off the bearings, that's the main thing. And when are you, and go ahead and just hold it. Let's move the tool rest out of the way. We don't need that there right now. Okay. Use the whole, right now use the whole paper. And then just slide up here, and while it's turning, it will slide up on there. Give it a little bit of slack so that it can't, you know what I mean when I say slack, let this left side a little bit loose.
Okay.
Okay, now move the paper back and forth here so you don't, there you go. Okay, now I have this machine running about 7:45. Okay, let's take a look at it and see how we're doing. Okay, let's go some more because you see these spots that haven't been touched yet. Okay, just that's it. And back and forth with it so you get some. And I usually sand this with the paper on top, and the reason being that gives the sand, the powder, a chance to get away from the paper. You're sanding dust. Okay. Let's see how we're doing. Now you see you can't go by the seeing those stripes in there. That doesn't mean that that hasn't been sanded, but right there would be a spot I'd be a little bit concerned about. That's all. So.
You never use anything coarser than this.
Oh yeah.
600?
Matter of fact, I have a 320 down there. If you want to, you can take that over there a time or two.
I would think that would get real.
It's a triangular piece down here somewhere or another. At least it was. Thank you.
There we go.
Now just sort of mainly hit in here. That's where you want to hit at. Rub your finger back on there and you can feel something on there.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's keep on going down through. See, that probably took that out already. You don't want to do too much. Okay, let's check it out. Okay, here, try this one here. This is sort of probably the same thing, but been used. Okay, and now you can come up with that. You can come up here and do the face of your taper and sort of get the ball around it all. There you go, that's it. Okay, that's all. Doesn't take much to do those corners. That's it. Okay, come over here and do this side of it. Okay, just move that back and forth so you get a new edge on it there. Because we don't have to worry about that paper any. And I'll tell you what, let's do. Let's hit that with this right here because it's a little bit coarser. I am hitting my bearing, which I don't want to do. Okay, there you go. Now go back up to the 600 now. Okay, you got to watch you don't get a groove in there from holding that up on the edge. Go back to the 600 now. Okay, and back and forth with your paper. There you go. I think you have that ball pretty good, I believe. Okay. Coming out pretty good, huh?
A little bit there.
That may be in the wood too. Yeah, I could see you have that same color up here. I don't feel anything there. Let's leave it go at that and go on to your 800. Well, it seems like this lathe sort of starts much slower than mine. Okay. Okay, rather than having everybody wait here for a sanding job, John and I can finish this up. We'll go ahead and put on a coat of CA glue on this particular piece and we'll be finished then, except for the assembly. If anybody wants to watch the assembly, you're welcome to stay.
That was 20 minutes.
Oh, I have 20 minutes?
Yeah, 20.
Oh, okay. Oh, we'll finish up in that period of time. Easy. Okay, we'll go ahead and finish up. Okay. Now anything that's still a little bit rough on here, run the 1200 on there if you will please, John. If you do have any kind of a mark on here, as long as it's clean, the CA glue will take care of it. Okay, that should be about it. Okay, let's shut him off. Go ahead.
Get that up there.
Yeah, you can. Okay. The other way around. There you go. What do you think? That may be down. That doesn't have quite the taper that I did.
Yeah, it's not.
But diameter though is still about the same thing. And again, maybe the ball got cut down a little bit, a tiny bit further.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter, we can just leave that on there. I can see on there, this goes in here, this goes here, and I need another bushing. And here we go. And we'll just finish off that piece right there, and we'll be ready for CA glue then. Okay, fire up and hit this up with sandpaper. Where's the other? Oh, up there. Is that the sharper one? One of them sharper than the other. Okay, just try not to hit the bearings, that's all. Other than that, move her back and forth. Okay, back and forth with it this way so you don't get a groove anywhere. Doesn't feel bad.
Put your finger and thumb on the paper.
Say again?
You put your finger on.
Yeah, go ahead and do that. That's okay. As long as you keep it moving, that you don't put a groove in it somewhere. Okay, that should about do that, I believe. It feels pretty smooth, doesn't it?
Yes.
Is there a piece of sandpaper down there anywhere?
A little piece?
No. No.
I don't see them.
I don't know what happened to the other piece. He must be here somewhere.
Over here.
Okay. No. Oh, okay. Oh, you have 600 there. Okay, you want to use 800 now. I should have had this up on high most of the time. I have my belts up on high. And I'd probably be running faster now even for sanding. Again, because of the small diameter, I keep it cranked up pretty good. Okay, that should probably be enough. Okay, what I'm finishing with right now is 1200 grit. A lot of people stop at 320, 600, who knows what. Personally, I run them up pretty smooth. Okay, back and forth with it. And what you want to do is keep your eye on things such as, right here John was sort of starting to hold the sandpaper pretty steady. And of course that doesn't do any good. So you want to keep it moving back and forth. Okay, let's take a look here and see how we're doing. Ooh. What do you think?
Not bad. I mean, it feels good to me.
Okay. I normally turn this down to around, give or take, 300 RPMs. And, okay, I'll tell you what. Let me over there on that side, if you will. Okay, and one thing you don't want to do is stand in front of it. Let me have this piece of gray cloth. I'll just run over here one time. You don't have very much time to get especially the thin on, and I'm doing 2 of them here. So therefore, and with the ball on here, I didn't get what I consider to be, and that's about it, and there it was starting to stick to my finger. So I usually take a piece of paper towel, I guess maybe it's about 2 inches wide, or 2.5 inches wide, fold it up. I guess that's 3 inches anyhow, but anyhow, fold it up, and every time I put it on, I just go to a new piece. Okay, do you want to do this?
I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay, let me put one more coat of medium on and then you can do it. Okay. Now, when you do this, stand off this side. No, you don't want to be in front of it. You want to be over to the side.
Okay.
Okay, always be over to the side, because if any of it does come flying off, now see, there's about how much I put on. Okay, now since I'm using medium, I had more time to be on that.
So it doesn't hurt for that to get on the bearing.
No. No, because every now and then you'll cut it off. Okay, keep the seam to your back, back against your finger. There you go. Okay, ready? And just go back and forth. Try to get over the edge here one time. But you only need maybe 2 coats at the most on the edge over here, because it doesn't get any wear really. Okay, there we go. Okay, flat. Okay, go ahead. All the way. And if you feel it starting to set up, get off of it. And you've probably been on there long enough. Get your finger away from there. Because if you don't, it's gonna start getting warm.
Okay.
Okay, a shot of accelerator. Okay, now you start off down here. I'd probably start off up here this time because you're going to get more on up here.
Okay.
Okay, go with it. Drag her back and forth there. Okay, get off over. That's enough. Okay, now we'll head back to maybe the, let me see what this feels like. Doesn't feel bad. Let's go with the 800. The 800 paper, yeah, wait, maybe this is a 12 here.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, a lot of movement in it. Move it back and forth, that's it. And especially with CA glue, you will definitely want to have movement in it, because if you get that hot, you're going to start melting it. Okay, what you want to do is get rid of any sparkly, shiny spots. If you look at it, a lot of times you can see it looks sort of like, I'll call it, I may not be using the right term, crystally, or you'll see bright spots on it. You want to sand those out. Okay, let's just see roughly how we've done. Okay, you see you still have a little bit in here. See the crystals in here? How it's sort of like sparkly. You want to try to get rid of these little sparkles in there.
Okay, so
Okay, go ahead, just keep sanding
that
some
with
more.
the sand?
Yes. Okay, if you don't get rid of those little sparkles, you're going to have some rough, it's going to be a rougher surface. On some woods, I can start off for sure with the 800 paper and no more than touch it good and ready to move on to the 1200. Okay, let's just see here how we've done. Okay, I think we're good for 1200. Let's go to 12. Right there, that's it. Doesn't take very much of the 1200. Okay, that should be good. Okay, let's get rid of our glue here. We don't need that anymore. We don't need that. Just drop them in there wherever they'll fit at. Oh, I know something I didn't bring. Where's the center at for this lathe?
Talk about a cross center?
Say again?
What kind of center do you want?
Tailstock center. Tail center.
Should be underneath your plate.
Okay.
7 minutes, John.
Okay, we'll make her. There it is. This will do. Let me have that brass nut right there underneath the paper. There you go. Now what I've done at this point is I added some more shims in here. And put the brass knob on the end. When you're turning without this piece, you need that brass knob. And what I'm going to do, need the buffer, please. And the rouge that's in that little box right there. Okay, now this is going to hold my piece, with these extra spacers in here, that's going to hold my piece down. Okay, what you're going to do, John, is polish this thing. I'll take that. And you're going to use just this wheel for now.
Just this section or both of them?
Both of them. You can go back and forth. What do you think? Is it coming out okay? Sure looks like it, huh?
Some of it is, yeah.
Yeah. It's Blue Rouge, again from Barry Gross, Arizona Silhouette. And by the way, he sells these buffer wheels. Okay. Okay, I think I should probably take a look at it and see what you think. Oh wow, looks pretty good, huh? Okay, now take it on the other wheel. Just try not to bump against any metal or anything. Nothing. It's just a type of wheel. I could be wrong, but it may be all cotton. This is a combination of two things, I believe, or else I have that wrong.
Cotton linen, right?
Muslim and it, maybe. They're everywhere, I know. What do you think?
Looks pretty good, I think.
Okay, let's go down here and put it together now. You want white? You want white gold or
3
gold?
minutes.
Okay, we'll be done. You want silver or gold? Okay, this is almost silver here, so you can sort of see the difference. Whereas this might sort of blend in.
Yeah, I'd probably go for the gold.
Okay. All right, since we have the top part of it right up here. We need a clip. We need a piece here that goes in here. And most of the time these do not go in all the, they don't even really start. We'll have to do it all with the press. Okay, now one thing you want to do here, look at your piece and pick out the least, I'll say least desirable, so to speak. And I'd say probably that straight area right across there. We cover that up, it doesn't matter. Okay, you be Mr. Pressman. Okay, go ahead. Go. Oh, go. Okay, you gotta watch going too far, because you go too far, you'll bend the barrel.
Okay.
You bring them in together and that's it. Okay, next thing we need is we need a point, which is right here. Put that right in there. This goes in here just like this. And again, go ahead and press it in. Watch your... Go ahead. Oh, okay, that's it. Okay, next thing we need, move 2 blocks out of here and put in a transmission. Now, we want to go to the end of the brass. No further than that. We may have to go up to that groove, but okay. Okay, that's it. Yep. Then at that point, I try a pen refill, pen point, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and see that to me, that's not out there quite far enough. So you want to go up to the...
Push it in a little bit.
Yeah. If we see part of the groove, it doesn't matter. But don't go beyond the top of the groove. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Went quicker. Quicker than I thought.
No, you're okay. At least I think so. Yes. If you go too far on here, what happens is the transmission pushes this larger piece on your tip here, down further, and it gets jammed in the point. Now, what I do, and I don't think I brought it along today, but anyhow, I have a drill that fits down through here, and I go down and I just cut a little bit off the inside of the point, and that will give me enough room that whenever I turn this down, it is able to lock in place. Because if it doesn't lock in place as soon as you touch the point, it's going to be right back up. Yeah, these go with this. Okay, made up this special tool, which is a piece with a hole in the end. Push this down on, because sometimes that can go pretty hard and the corners aren't the most round. So okay, here we are, we're together. Now you want to turn this around until your grain matches up. And this will only show in one direction. If you have it retracted, it's lined up. If you're out, it's not lined up. So you decide how you want to set it. And in most cases, I set them so that when the pen is retracted, it will be lined up at that point. Because again, would you like to see my pen? Most of the time you have the point out. Now, for myself, I make out invoices, and therefore, I have mine set so when the point is out, it's all lined up. And the reason being, would you mind signing my bill? So therefore, it's all lined up.
Let's give John a big hand here.
Thank you very much. John's the one that did it. This one over here I hope you're talking about.
That's what I was talking about.
Okay, right.